very healthy individual. I worked out all the time, and I never had a weight problem, and never had a hypertension problem of any kind, certainly not one that I knew about. And like most people, you just never think it's going to happen to you. But on October 27th, 1995, it happened. So I went from a very active individual to somebody who was basically paralyzed, blind, and couldn't do anything. So it had a very, very significant impact on myself and my family. So I'm going to tell you a story, what happened with my stroke, because I want you to go out of here today with a renewed vigor of why you do what you do. Let me take you back to 1995. I was in September, probably mid-September of 1995, I was playing football with a bunch of friends on a Sunday morning, as I told you. I went up for a pass, and I landed directly on the back of my neck, and what the doctor said is I dissected the basilar artery.
By the time Howard Rocket was strapped down in the ambulance, his brain was already starting to die.
Howard? Can you hear me, Howard?
Hours earlier, a small blood clot had broken loose and went racing like a bullet through his bloodstream. What happened next is called a stroke.
The resident, again, luck, the resident on call was a neurology resident. And she just happened to know, after they diagnosed it as a stroke, she just happened to know that at Toronto Western, they have this new program, a stroke team, originated and run by Dr. Frank Silver. It's a stroke team. Well, she calls down, well, before she does that, I'm lying on the bed, my arms and legs are flailing all over the place, my wife is sitting down beside me, and the doctor bends over and says, Dr. Rocket, Mrs. Rocket, we have diagnosed the problem. We believe, Dr. Rocket, that you've had a stroke, and there's only a couple of choices. She starts going through the choices. The first choice was, if we do nothing, you could die. Not a good choice. The second choice is if we do intervene, and they are able to keep you alive, you could be a vegetable, because we don't know how much brain damage there's been. Well, I don't like vegetables either. So the first two choices weren't that good. She said our third choice is there's an experimental drug at the hospital, at the Western Hospital. It's experimental, and if I can get the doctors together and we can get you down there in time, we can try this. Well, there was no choice. My wife said yes. I sort of nodded the best that I could, and they rushed me down to Toronto Western. But they get all these doctors on the stroke team together on a Friday night at 6 o'clock. They bring all these people in. That was an amazing bit of luck for me. So now they have saved my life.
The fact that Howard is alive at all is a miracle. But the damage to his brain and body was minimized because of the stroke team. After his stroke, he was paralyzed, but he survived with the love and support of his family. At first, he couldn't speak a single word, which led to the forming of a special bond with his youngest daughter, Dana, who seemed to know his every thought. Father and daughter used a secret sign to signal the hope they shared.
He always taught me to fight 100% for whatever I wanted. So every time when I left his bedside for a couple minutes or whenever I left, I would just say, Dad, fight 110%. And his way of telling me that it registered was he went like that every single time. So I knew he was listening.
I think that if there was a guardian angel, she was it. You can't survive what I did without tremendous help.
My last goal is hope. I go down to Toronto Rehab every month, as I told you, to give stroke patients hope that things will be better tomorrow than they are today. And no matter how bad they are, I could have been in a wheelchair, but I would have had hope that I'd be the best wheelchair person I could be. You can't, if you give up hope at all, and a lot of us, just the circumstances are overwhelming, and if you give up hope, you become bankrupt. Your soul becomes bankrupt. You can't have that. You have to be able to go forward and know that tomorrow is going to be a better day than it is today.